So if you think you're balding, you probably are. And the reason I'm actually making this video is because in 2022, I actually started realizing that my tempos were receding, and it had to be one of the most insecure periods of my life. I felt like I had no control. My hairline was just gonna go. I wasn't even confident at the time. Me losing my hair was just frying my confidence even more. I felt like I was genuinely being cooked. I would speak to women and I'll speak to people, and the only thought sometimes I'll be running in my mind is, are they looking at my hairline? How does it look? Honestly, I want you to know in this video that you're not as helpless as you think, and your hair loss is actually controllable. You can actually reverse it. You can actually fight and win this battle and start regrowing your hair. And in this video, we're gonna dive right into it. The first thing you must understand is, why are you losing your hair in the first place? The first reason might be you're deficient in some vitamins. So the vitamins that are very essential for your hair production is zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, and we have biotin. And this is one of the reasons why I actually be telling you guys this fitness stuff is actually good, because if you're actually eating well or you're actually eating healthy, you're most likely not going to be deficient. But however, I would say you can get some blood work. Now, the second reason why you actually might be losing your hair is simply because of male pattern baldness. And how do you actually know? When you look at your dad and you look at your mom's dad, you're going to get a very clear picture on the hairline you're actually going to receive. Answering the next question on your mind, I know, is how do I prevent the male pattern baldness? Now, you need to understand that the reason why you're losing your hair is simply because your hormone testosterone is being converted to DHT. And DHT is the evil brother that actually causes those receptors in your hair to actually start miniaturizing or to start falling off. If you actually want to start preventing hair loss, you pretty much would need to block DHT. So you can go with the natural route or you can go with the unnatural route. So natural route, I actually learned this was saw palmetto. Saw palmetto is a very, very good DHT blocker. You should take around like 320 milligrams to actually help you out. So saw palmetto is actually going to do you good. Saw palmetto, it also increases your hair thickness. So the topical DHT blockers that you don't entirely need to ingest into your system, so it's only gonna be in your hair or your hair area. I would say I ditched every freaking shampoo and I just went to good shampoo. So a very, very good shampoo that will prevent inflammation in your scalp is going to be ketoconazole. That really is going to help you out. That was personally one of the shampoos I actually started using. And if you're using any kind of shampoos that have any sulfate, you better throw that away. Don't cook yourself. At least, let's say your genetics is against you. Don't be against yourself, my guy. Now, however, if you want to actually block DHT an unnatural way, I would say you can also use things like finasteride. Now, the only problem is some research have actually indicated that use of finasteride may actually affect Mr. John down there. So you might be a little bit cautious. That's one of the reasons why personally, I haven't really jumped on finasteride. I've been a little bit skeptical about finasteride, and I won't entirely say you should jump on it. One that was very, very strong as well is the dutasteride. It actually reduces and it lowers your libido very, very well. So with using the medications, personally, I would recommend more so the topical routes. I've not really dabbled along the finasteride or the dutasteride route. I'm like, yo, I want my, whenever I needed to come up, I needed to come up. What I will tell you, if you actually want to hop on finasteride, would be taking a very small dosage. So like 0.25. With that dosage, you're not going to see much side effect. However, if you bump up the dosage, there might be a little bit of problems. These are not even the ones that actually even going to need the results. I'm not going to lie to you. Now we've understood how to actually stop the hair loss. Now the thing is, if you want to regrow your hair, these are things I'm going to put you on. Now, when I was actually starting to regrow my hair, one thing I realized is I used minoxidil as a vasodilator. So it's going to dilate your blood vessels and actually cause blood to flow more in there. And one of the reasons why you're actually losing your hair is because within the area where you're losing your hair, there is less blood flowing to that area. So minoxidil could help that. However, it still does have side effects. But personally, I have never really seen any side effects outside of just my scalp looking dry. That's really it. Then another thing I would definitely put you guys on is microneedling. I definitely have slacked on this. Microneedling and minoxidil, those two actually gave me the best results, I won't lie, with regards to regrowing my lost hairs. When you apply your minoxidil, a very big pro tip would be trying to massage the minoxidil into your hair. I also would combine using rosemary oil. These were things I actually did when my hair was starting to regrow a little bit more. Recently, that I've started seeing that my hairline has been shaky. Again, one thing I would say is I stopped micro needling. I also stopped using the rosemary oil, and those are two things I'm gonna restart doing. So I'm not just only telling you guys this, I'm also telling you this because I'm actually gonna be doing it. Because if you look at my hairline right now, it's not entirely the best. But one thing I also wanted to say is, while I was still younger, I wouldn't entirely say that the front of my hair has always been dense. Like while I was a little child, I'll probably post a picture. The density of my front hairline has never really been dense, and my mother's hairline either has never really been dense as well. So there might be a little bit of genetics, but for you, I would tell you that you should kind of like confirm and look at like old pictures that, oh, is this a genetic thing? Is this not a genetic thing? So you don't like feel like you're just losing your hair. Meanwhile, it's only just genetics. However, for me personally, I was not really gonna do that 50-50 bet. If this is how my natural hairline is, good and fine. My thing is, if I was losing my hair, I didn't also want to risk it. You also need to be aware of things that can also make your hair loss worse. Now, one of those things is going to be, first of all, your lifestyle. So drinking, smoking, wicked stress, poor sleep. These things are literally cooking your recovery. You're pretty much slowing down your hair growth phase whenever you do any of those kind of habits. So you need to dial down on your stress. I know if you're a man who is trying to improve in your life, you're definitely going to be feeling stressed. So try and find a way on how to mitigate that stress in a very healthy way. Workouts. I'm going to tell you, do things that will actually improve your testosterone. Fix your diet. Those are things that will actually help you out. As I said earlier in the video, you don't want to be losing your hair by genetics, then cooking yourself again by actually continuing stupid habits. Now, as a recap, why you're losing your hair is probably because of you are deficient in some nutrients, or you might be experiencing male pattern baldness. If you want to know how you're experiencing male pattern baldness, you have to look at the males on your mom's side, or you have to just look at your dad, and you're going to know the kind of hairline you're going to receive. Now, the reason why you most likely are losing your hair is because of DHT. Your hairline or your hair receptors is very sensitive to DHT. And when you can actually block DHT on your hair follicles, you're going to be reducing that. So you can do that in a topical way. So you can either use ketoconazole as a shampoo, anti-inflammatory, or you can also use saw palmetto, 320 milligrams. After you use the topical route, you can also use the oral route, where you actually would take your medications orally. This will be using things such as finasteride, where you have to use a very small amount to actually minimize side effects. Then afterwards, you actually need to know how to regrow your hair. If you want to regrow your hair, you're going to either use minoxidil, microneedling, and rosemary oil. These have worked very, very well. And a bonus one I'll also tell you is going to be gelatin. Gelatin apparently also causes your hair to be thicker. So that's something you should also add. Now, after you've prevented the hair loss and now you are also regrowing your hair, you also want to make sure that you're not killing and shooting yourself in the leg by doing stupid things like drinking, smoking, keeping your stress level high, dehydrating, and stressing your life. Those are things you should also try and keep in control for you to actually keep your hair. And I do understand what it means to actually lose your hair. I understand that it's not going to be it's not a linear path. I think you should just go in the mindset that you can actually control the controllables. And I believe that that's how you're going to just prevent the hair loss, or you're going to slow it down. All right, so having unhealthy habits such as smoking, drinking, lack of stress control, your poor sleep, these things would actually worsen your hair loss. I would tell you to replace these habits with things that actually reduce your stress. So find a way on how to work out. And the moment you start working out, the moment you start training, the moment you start optimizing your diet, you're also going to realize that even your hair is going to feel it. Your skin is going to thank you. You're going to feel way much better. And if you actually struggle in reducing your stress through working out, reducing your stress through fixing your diet, if you find that it's very hard for you to train, it's very, very hard for you to eat very well, I'll tell you to book a call with the link, and I'd love to hear from you. Easily fix your physique, and we can also fix your hairline as well, just by incorporating healthy habits. And with that said, that's the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. I understand what it is to actually go through the experience. I would just tell you that you should control the controllables. You're not as helpless as you think. And with that said, peace, ladies and gentlemen.